Okay, we are here in good old Jackson, Tennessee with Durran Cage, General Sales Manager of Alan Vaughn's Automotive, and the cover story for September 2012 AutoSuccess magazine. First and foremost, congratulations, Durran, and to your team.
Congratulations, Durran.
Thank you, Sean and Karen.
Okay, and AutoSuccess magazine?
AutoSuccess. Thank you. Dealer Synergy, too.
I appreciate it. Well, let's just get into it. I want you to start by just telling us a little bit about yourself, like, who you are, where you came from, and your background.
All right. Well, I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I went to University of New Mexico. I got my degree in accounting, the Anderson School of Business. And after going there, I was selling cars while I was in college with my best friend, Casey Zangara, at Zangara Dodge. And after that, the rep from Chrysler hired me on after I graduated to be a Chrysler rep for Chrysler. So they brought me into they brought me into to Memphis, Tennessee, to where I had stores that were in Tennessee and Mississippi. So I had about 12 to 15 stores that we worked with. And so after going into each of these stores, I became more and more enthused about the internet side of business. You know, that retail in me started coming out again. And so after going from dealership to dealership, just talking to them, there was one store that was interested, and that was at the time Gary Matthews of Jackson, which is now Alan Vaughn's Automotive. So then they hired me on. Alan Vaughn's recruited me. Came here after a year being with Chrysler, and from jump, it was like a one-man show. It was me, and I had like an assistant, and we just pound the phone together and try to sell the cars, to where it just started developing more and more, to where I had a coordinator. I had my right-hand man with me, Tyler, who was just a photo guy at the beginning. He's now an assistant, and it just kept growing and growing, and it came to a point where Mr. Vaughn said, we're doing about 25, 35 units. He said, how can we take it to the next level? And that's where Dealer Synergy.
Question for you. What type of training did you go through Chrysler as an OEM rep? How long was training? What was training like that like?
It was a ton of training. When you're a Chrysler rep, before you even hit the field, you had 4 weeks of training, and then probably every 3 months you went to Detroit and did some training there. And then I was fortunate, I was blessed enough to be among the top 8 district managers in the country, and I got to meet with the top guys in Detroit, and we sit around and have a roundtable discussion about marketing and stuff like that from the ground level. So, but we had a lot of training. It was like pretty big every 3 months.
What type of internet sales or business development training did Chrysler manufacturer put you through as an OEM rep?
I would say none. As an OEM rep at the time. Now, I don't know
and what year was this that you were with Chrysler?
That was it was 07, 08.
So in 07, 08, there was really very little internet training. So when you got recruited to, then it was Gary Matthews, now it's Alan Vaughn's Automotive, you didn't have a lot of internet formal training, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so then how did you jump into the internet department? Did you just do it off of logic, off of instinct, off of trial and error? Help us understand, how did you matriculate from OEM to internet person?
No, really, it was just I wanted to help stores get better and sell more cars. That's your job. And so as I kept researching more and more, I would Google, how to increase sales. I kept hearing more from, like magazines like the AutoSuccess and other magazines of how important an internet department is and things of that nature. And so I started reading just tons about e-commerce directors and internet directors. And there was the GM that was here at Gary Matthews of Jackson at the time. He kept telling me about it. He's like, you need to read up on this stuff. And so it just kept linking in. I just kept diving and researching. And before you know it, I fell in love with the internet side of the business.
Okay, well let's talk about that. What did you like, or what was intriguing to you about the internet specifically? What type of information did you research?
I think, honestly, what really set me off was the fact that you could take a store, for example, like a Dave Smith Motors, that has a town of 5,000 to 10,000 people, and they could be the #1 Dodge Chrysler Jeep store in the United States. And so they did that all by internet presence and things of that nature. So I saw that the internet could make the impossible possible. I mean, you could take a store that's in Jackson, Tennessee, that had no internet presence, and they could do 85 to 90 units on the internet like that. And so that's why I like the internet, because anybody, anywhere can do anything they want with the internet presence.
So that's a very powerful statement, because there's people that are reading AutoSuccess magazine or going to Google, and they have no idea what the capabilities or the magnitude of opportunities there are. So you realized that from the very beginning.
Correct.
Okay, so now let's go into transition when you first started working for Gary Matthews. You were a one-man internet director?
Pretty
Okay,
much.
tell us how you set up the department. What were you doing?
Well, I mean, I was, you know, when I first came, I had two guys, and the way that it was is my team, the people that worked with me to help me sell cars via the internet were the people that were about to get fired. So what happened was whoever couldn't make it on the showroom floor, then it'd be like, hey, they might make it in the internet department. Makes no sense, but that's just how it was. You couldn't get the top people, you got the worst, and so you just had to kind of deal with it and try to educate them and help them out. And so the process was really, you just, when somebody, the internet lead, you just printed it out. The first system I used was iMagic Labs. I used them. And we just phone called out and we tried to get them in. And you know, since I didn't have much training, I didn't know what I was doing, so I was trying to sell the car over the phone. If somebody said they wanted my best price, I'd go to the used car manager, hey, I need that best price, they're ready to buy today, you know, and he'd light me up pretty good about that. You know, half our used cars wouldn't be priced online because he didn't want to price them because we didn't want to give up gross, so it was really tough. But you just, little by little, you just learn to just sell the appointment over the phone. And so that's what we did, but it was me, and then I had one assistant with me at the time, and then we had...
How many cars were you guys selling when it was just you and an assistant?
I mean, the first month we had it was like an 8-car month, and then it started averaging about 15 to 18 and about 20 to 25, and then up to about 30 units.
Okay, and how long would you say that you were doing that before you sought help outside?
Probably for about a year. Yeah.
So for a year, you were, 25, 30 units, etc. Now, here's something that's really big question. How were you perceived by the other managers and salespeople in the dealership itself?
You know, just like any other, young kid that comes into the business, you're just like the internet guy. I was called upon more to fix computers and hook up keyboards and stuff than I was about helping somebody out with the car. But I mean, that's just what it was. I mean,
did they respect the internet's opportunity, or did they feel like the internet was the devil, it was the heathen, it was a necessary evil?
Absolutely, it was the devil at the beginning, and you just gotta work with that. You can't fight it. You just have to educate people as you go and lead by example, because it's all about making money. And if you start just keep at it and you make the other managers money, then they're all of a sudden their paradigm, everything will shift. And they'll start seeing it as part of their department. And once you get the other managers to think as the internet department as part of their department, then that's when it's golden, and it's done from there. So yeah.
What was your goals when you first came in? I mean, going from an OEM rep to working in a dealership, did you have aspirations to become a GSM, or were you content with working in the internet, or what was it at first?
At first, really, it was just being the really like the top internet director in the world, if I could be. I mean, that's what Dealer Synergy teaches you. But no, really to be the best internet director that I could, have the best team in the state of Tennessee easily. And then eventually, really, I didn't even think about the GSM spot. I really looked at it as like eventually just doing this for 10 years and then getting a dealership of my own one day. I've had it on my home screen of, my own little dealership name, and I've already bought the URL of the store I wanted 3 years ago on GoDaddy. But that was just my long-term goal. I mean, that's what I looked at every day. That's what I wanted, because when I was a kid and teenager, my best friend, his dad owned a dealership, and I saw what it got, and he went from nothing to something. He just was a salesperson and got it all, and I said, I want to do that. And so, but yeah,
it's amazing how that can happen.
Yeah, so I didn't really look at the GSM part. That just kind of came as I just kept moving up.
So you just wanted to come in and shock and awe, baby. You wanted to just come in and be the best at your craft.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so before we go into the next video we're going to, part 2 is going to go through your roadmap of success. It's going to be very important. What did you do? And we'll get to that in the next video. But before we do that, a question for you. What were some of the challenges that you had to face before you got outside help? What did you face as far as information, execution, whatever? Let's just put them all out there. What was all the difficult landmines that blew up around you?
There's a few of them, and I'll get to the point. Like one, not everybody was on the same page. Every internet director in the world that has this problem literally will drive them insane to no sleep. When you've got like an owner, management staff, salespeople, everybody's different places. So we went through that for a while before we all kind of meshed together. I had a manager that wouldn't give me prices on the used car at the beginning, but this all kind of changed, as I said, as we went through and we got better and better. Training, training was an issue because we didn't really know how to properly train me. I didn't have any true internet director training. Products, we talk about the 4 Ps, but products. We were operating on a different CRM and a different ILM, and anybody that's operating that way right now will tell you that's hard to deal with, because we had AutoBase as a CRM for the showroom sales, and we had iMagic for an ILM, and we had and that's an internet lead management tool, and we had a whole another tool that we used to take our photos. I forget which company we're using. It's based out of Texas somewhere, and then we just had all this different stuff. So that was another thing that I fought for a while, and it just takes time, and I'm big on time. Like I preach that more than anything. If you can find a way to reduce time and get everybody on the same page and merge all the same products and get the right processes and people, then you'll be all right. So, I mean, that was pretty much it. Just same page, the people and the products were like really the hardest part at the beginning. But after that, we were good.
Okay, so we're going to stop the first section of this. Is there anything you want to close with before we go to the next video?
No, I thank my people. I mean, the people is the reason why I'm here today. The people that are sitting right around this room in this internet department, the gentleman sitting right next to me, and the associates that I had that are no longer here but are internet directors elsewhere. It goes to the credit of them and our faith, and we just all believe in each other and our culture. So,
Well, that's awesome. All right, so we're going to stop right here.